castles. These towering fortresses of stone have stood for centuries, silent witnesses to the rise and fall of kingdoms, the clash of swords, and the whispers of secrets never meant to be told. But within their ancient walls, some stories refuse to fade, stories of ghostly apparitions, cursed treasures, and unsolved mysteries that linger in the shadows, waiting to be uncovered. Tonight, we journey into the heart of Europe's most enigmatic castles, where the past refuses to rest. From vanishing servants to phantom armies, from cursed crowns to haunted halls, these are the chilling tales that have baffled historians, terrified visitors, and left behind nothing but questions. If you're enjoying these stories of history's greatest mysteries, be sure to like this video and subscribe for more fascinating deep dives into the past. Your support helps us uncover and share even more incredible stories from around the world. So settle in, get comfortable, and let's step into the unknown. Because once we cross the threshold of these ancient fortresses, there's no turning back. This is not just a journey through history, it's a descent into the mysteries that time itself has tried to forget. And our first stop, a castle built over a place so dark, so forbidden, it's said to be a gateway to hell itself. Welcome to Houska Castle. Deep in the forests of the Czech Republic, where the trees grow dense and the shadows stretch long, stands Houska Castle. But this is no ordinary fortress, built not to keep invaders out, but to keep something in. Houska Castle's origins are shrouded in mystery, but its construction in the 13th century has long been tied to a chilling legend. Beneath the castle lies a massive, bottomless pit, a fissure so deep that locals believed it was a gateway to hell itself. Medieval chronicles describe the pit as a place of unspeakable evil, where strange sounds echoed day and night, the clinking of chains, the growls of unseen beasts, and the anguished cries of lost souls. Villagers claimed that winged creatures, described as half-human, half-demon, would emerge from the pit at night, spreading fear and darkness across the land. To seal the pit and contain the evil, Houska Castle was constructed directly over it. Unlike most castles of its time, it was not built for defense or as a residence for nobility. Instead, its thick walls, fortified chambers, and lack of a water source suggested had one purpose: to act as a prison for whatever lay below. Even the chapel, with its ornate frescoes and sacred symbols, was built directly above the pit, as if to sanctify the darkness beneath. But the castle's dark reputation didn't end with its construction. In the 13th century, it's said that prisoners were offered pardons if they agreed to be lowered into the pit and report what they saw. The first man to descend screamed within seconds. His hair turned white, and he begged to be pulled up. He died shortly after, babbling of unspeakable horrors. Another prisoner, a young man, was lowered into the pit and vanished entirely, his screams echoing until they faded into silence. Centuries later, during World War II, the Nazis occupied the castle. Rumors swirled that they were conducting occult experiments, trying to harness the pit's dark energy for their own purposes. Local accounts suggest that high-ranking SS officers visited the castle frequently, and strange lights were seen emanating from its windows at night. What they found or unleashed remains a mystery, as all records from their time there were destroyed or lost. Today, Houska Castle stands as a monument to the unknown. Visitors report eerie sensations, sudden drops in temperature, and the feeling of being watched. Some claim to hear whispers in the chapel, while others swear they've seen shadowy figures moving through the halls. Paranormal investigators have recorded unexplained voices and footsteps, and some even believe the castle is a portal to another realm. But the most chilling question remains unanswered. What lies beneath Houska Castle? Is it truly a gateway to hell, as the legends say, or is it something even more terrifying, something we can't yet comprehend? Whatever the truth, Houska Castle is a reminder that some mysteries are better left undisturbed. And as we leave the dark forests of the Czech Republic, our next journey takes us to the misty highlands of Scotland, where another castle holds secrets just as chilling. Welcome to Leap Castle, a place so haunted, it's known as the most terrifying fortress in the world. In the misty highlands of Ireland, where the rain falls heavy and the fog clings to the hills, stands Leap Castle. Known as one of the most haunted castles in the world, its history is steeped in blood, betrayal, and unspeakable horrors. Leap Castle's origins date back to the 13th century, when it was built by the O'Carroll clan, a powerful and ruthless family. The castle's most infamous feature is the Bloody Chapel, a place where violence and death were not just common, but ritualistic. It's said that during a family feud, one O'Carroll brother murdered another in the chapel during Mass, stabbing him in front of the altar. This act of fratricide cursed the chapel, and its dark energy lingers to this day. But the horrors of Leap Castle don't end there. In the early 20th century, during renovations, workers discovered a hidden oubliette, a secret dungeon where prisoners were left to die. At the bottom of the oubliette, they found a pile of human bones, some still clutching knives, as if the prisoners had turned on each other in their final moments. Among the remains was a pocket watch from the 1840s, suggesting the oubliette was used far more recently than anyone had imagined. The castle is also home to numerous ghostly apparitions. The most famous is the Red Lady, a spectral figure dressed in crimson robes, often seen holding a dagger. Legend says she was a woman wronged by the O'Carrolls, and her spirit seeks vengeance. Another ghost, known as Emily, is said to be a young girl who fell to her death from the castle's battlements. Her laughter and footsteps are often heard echoing through the halls. But perhaps the most terrifying presence in Leap Castle is the Elemental, a dark, shadowy figure described as having a decaying face and a foul stench. This entity is said to have been summoned by the O'Carrolls through occult practices, and it remains bound to the castle, spreading fear and despair. Visitors have reported feeling an overwhelming sense of dread in its presence, as if the very air around them is alive with malice. Today, Leap Castle is a place where the past refuses to rest. Paranormal investigators have recorded unexplained voices, sudden temperature drops, and even physical interactions with unseen forces. The castle's current owners have dedicated their lives to restoring it, but even they admit that some parts of Leap Castle are best left untouched. What makes Leap Castle so haunted is it the blood-soaked history of the O'Carrolls, the restless spirits of their victims, or something far older and darker. The answers may never be known, but one thing is certain: Leap Castle is a place where the veil between worlds is dangerously thin. As we leave the haunted halls of Leap Castle and its tales of the Elemental and the Bloody Chapel behind, our journey now takes us to the lush vineyards of France's Loire Valley. Here, amidst rolling hills and picturesque landscapes, stands Château de Brissac, a castle as grand in stature as it is in mystery. Known as the Giant of the Loire, this towering fortress hides tales of betrayal, vanishing guards, and restless spirits that refuse to be forgotten. So, let's step into the shadow of its 7-story facade and uncover the secrets that lie within. In the heart of France's Loire Valley, where vineyards stretch as far as the eye can see, stands Château de Brissac, known as the Giant of the Loire for its towering 7-story facade. It is the tallest castle in France, but behind its elegant Renaissance architecture lies a history of intrigue, betrayal, and one of the most baffling mysteries in European castle lore. Château de Brissac's origins date back to the 11th century, when it was built as a fortress by the Counts of Anjou. Over the centuries, it was expanded and transformed into a luxurious residence, becoming a symbol of wealth and power. But in the 15th century, the castle became the stage for a tragic love affair that would leave a lasting mark on its history. The story begins with Jacques de Brézy, the castle's owner, and his wife Charlotte de Valois, the illegitimate daughter of King Charles VII. Jacques, a man of fiery temper, discovered Charlotte in the arms of her lover, Pierre de Lavenne. In a fit of rage, Jacques murdered them both, stabbing Pierre and slitting Charlotte's throat. The lovers' blood is said to have stained the castle's floors, and their spirits are said to haunt its halls to this day. But the most chilling mystery of Château de Brissac involves the disappearing guards. In the 15th century, 2 guards were stationed at the castle's entrance to protect its treasures. One night, they vanished without a trace. Their armor and weapons were found neatly stacked, as if they had simply stepped out of them and disappeared. No bodies were ever found, and no explanation was ever given. To this day, the guards' disappearance remains unsolved. Some believe they were victims of foul play, while others think they were spirited away by supernatural forces. Visitors to the castle have reported seeing ghostly figures in armor patrolling the grounds, their faces obscured by shadow. Others claim to hear the clinking of armor and the sound of footsteps echoing through the halls, even when no one is there. Château de Brissac is also home to the Green Lady, a ghostly figure often seen in the castle's chapel. She is said to be the spirit of Charlotte de Valois, forever mourning her lost love. Her apparition is described as a woman in a green dress, her face pale and sorrowful. Some say she appears as a warning, her presence foretelling tragedy. Today, Château de Brissac is a popular tourist destination, drawing visitors from around the world. But its ghostly inhabitants remind us that its history is not just one of grandeur, but also of sorrow and mystery. Who were the disappearing guards, and what happened to them? Why does the Green Lady still wander the chapel? And what other secrets lie hidden within the castle's walls? As we leave the vineyards of the Loire Valley and the eerie mystery of Château de Brissac's vanishing guards behind, our journey now takes us to the misty peaks of Germany's Swabian Alps. Here, perched high atop Mount Hohenzollern, stands Hohenzollern Castle, a fairy tale fortress with a history as haunting as its breathtaking views. Known for its legends of the White Lady and hidden treasures, it is a place where beauty and terror intertwine. So let's ascend to its heights and uncover the secrets that linger within its walls. Perched high atop Mount Hohenzollern in the Swabian Alps of Germany, Hohenzollern Castle is a vision of fairy tale grandeur. With its turrets, spires, and sweeping views of the surrounding countryside, it's often described as the epitome of a medieval fortress. But beneath its picturesque exterior lies a history of intrigue, tragedy, and ghostly apparitions. That the castle we see today is actually the 3rd iteration of Hohenzollern Castle. The first fortress, built in the 11th century, was destroyed in 1423 after a year-long siege. The second castle, constructed in the mid-15th century, fell into disrepair and was largely demolished by the 18th century. The current castle, built in the 19th century, was commissioned by King Frederick William III of Prussia as a tribute to his ancestral roots. But even this modern reconstruction is steeped in legends of the past. One of the most famous legends of Houska Castle is that of the White Lady. She is said to be the ghost of Countess Kunigunde von Orlamünde, a noble woman who lived in the 14th century. According to the tale, Kunigunde fell in love with Albert the Handsome, a member of the Hohenzollern family. When Albert rejected her affections, Kunigunde, in a fit of despair, murdered her own children, believing they were the obstacle to their union. Overcome with guilt, she took her own life, and her ghost has haunted the castle ever since. The White Lady is often seen wandering the castle's halls, her spectral figure glowing faintly in the moonlight. Some say she appears as a harbinger of death, her presence foretelling tragedy for the Hohenzollern family. Others claim to have heard her weeping, her sorrow echoing through the empty corridors. But the White Lady is not the only ghost said to roam Houska Castle. The castle's chapel is said to be haunted by the spirit of a monk who was executed for heresy. Visitors have reported hearing faint chanting and seeing shadowy figures moving through the chapel, even when it's empty. Houska Castle is also home to legends of hidden treasure. It's said that during the 30 Years' War, the Hohenzollern family hid a vast fortune within the castle's walls to protect it from marauding armies. To this day, no one has found the treasure, but some believe it's still there waiting to be discovered. Today, Houska Castle is a popular tourist destination, drawing visitors from around the world. But its ghostly inhabitants remind us that its history is not just one of grandeur, but also of sorrow and mystery. Who was the White Lady, and why does she still wander the halls? What secrets lie in the castle's chapel? And where is the hidden treasure of the Hohenzollern family? As we leave the misty peaks of Houska Castle and its sorrowful White Lady behind, our journey now takes us to the rolling hills of Hungary. Here, amidst the tranquil countryside, stands Houska Castle, a fortress steeped in tales of love, loss, and a ghostly bride who wanders its ancient walls. Known for its tragic romance and spectral sightings, it is a place where the past lingers in the most haunting ways. So let's step into its shadow and uncover the story of the ghostly bride. Perched high on a hill overlooking the town of Houska Castle is one of Hungary's most iconic medieval fortresses. Built in the 13th century, it has weathered centuries of invasions, sieges, and battles, standing as a testament to the resilience of its people. But within its ancient walls lies a tale of love and tragedy that has left an indelible mark on its history and its ghostly inhabitants. The story begins with a young noblewoman, known only as the Ghostly Bride. She was the daughter of a powerful lord who ruled Houska Castle during the Middle Ages. Total and kind, she fell deeply in love with a young knight who served in her father's army. Their love was forbidden, as the knight was of lower rank, but they vowed to be together no matter the cost. On the eve of their secret wedding, tragedy struck. The castle was attacked by a rival lord, and the young knight was called to defend its walls. During the battle, he was struck down, dying in the arms of his beloved. Heartbroken and unable to bear the loss, the bride climbed to the highest tower of the castle and threw herself into the abyss below. To this day, her ghost is said to haunt Houska Castle, her spectral figure often seen wandering the battlements in a flowing white wedding dress. Visitors have reported hearing her mournful cries echoing through the night, a sound that chills the soul. Some claim to see her standing at the edge of the tower, her face pale and sorrowful, as if reliving her final moments. But the ghostly bride is not the only spirit said to roam Houska Castle. The castle's dark dungeons are said to be haunted by the souls of prisoners who perished within their walls. Cold spots, sudden drops in temperature, and the sound of faint whispers are often reported in these areas. Some visitors have even claimed to feel unseen hands gripping their shoulders or tugging at their clothes. Today, Houska Castle is a popular tourist destination, drawing visitors from around the world. But its ghostly inhabitants remind us that its history is not just one of grandeur, but also of sorrow and mystery. Who was the ghostly bride, and why does she still wander the castle? What secrets lie in the castle's dark dungeons, and what other mysteries are waiting to be uncovered within its walls? As we leave the rolling hills of Hungary and the tragic tale of the ghostly bride behind, our journey now takes us to the wind-swept moors of northern England. Here, amidst the rugged landscape, stands Chillingham Castle, a fortress renowned not only for its medieval grandeur, but also for its reputation as one of the most haunted castles in the world. Known for its chilling tales of ghostly apparitions and restless spirits, it is a place where the past refuses to stay buried. So, let's step into its shadow and uncover the story of the haunted bedchamber. Chillingham Castle, nestled in the wilds of Northumberland, is a place where history and horror intertwine. Built in the 12th century as a monastery, it was later transformed into a fortress by the Grey family, who have owned it for over 800 years. But beneath its stately exterior lies a history of violence, betrayal, and ghostly apparitions that have earned it the title of Britain's most haunted castle. One of the most famous hauntings at Chillingham Castle is centered around the haunted bedchamber. This room, once reserved for noble guests, is now infamous for its spectral inhabitant, the Blue Boy. Legend has it that in the 18th century, the skeletal remains of a young boy were discovered within the castle walls. He was found trapped in a hidden chamber, his hands pressed against the wall, as if he had been trying to escape. The Blue Boy is said to haunt the bedchamber, his ghostly figure appearing in a flash of blue light. Visitors have reported hearing the sound of a child crying, followed by a sudden chill in the air. Some claim to see the figure of a young boy standing at the foot of the bed, his face pale and sorrowful. Others have witnessed the imprint of a small hand on the bed's canopy, as if the boy had been reaching out in desperation. But the Blue Boy is not the only ghost said to roam Chillingham Castle. The castle's dungeons are said to be haunted by the spirits of prisoners who were tortured and executed within their walls. Cold spots, sudden drops in temperature, and the sound of faint whispers are often reported in these areas. Some visitors have even claimed to feel unseen hands gripping their shoulders or tugging at their clothes. One of the most chilling tales associated with Chillingham Castle involves the Lady in White. Legend has it that she was a noble woman who was imprisoned in the castle by her jealous husband. Heartbroken and unable to bear the shame, she threw herself from the castle's highest tower. Her ghost is said to wander the castle grounds, her mournful cries echoing through the night. Today, Chillingham Castle is a popular tourist destination, drawing visitors from around the world. But its ghostly inhabitants remind us that its history is not just one of grandeur, but also of sorrow and mystery. Who was the Blue Boy, and why does he still haunt the bedchamber? What secrets lie in the castle's dark dungeons? And who was the Lady in White, and what drove her to such despair? As we leave the wind-swept moors of Chillingham Castle and its tales of spectral sorrow behind, our journey now takes us to the misty highlands of Scotland. Here, amidst the rolling hills and ancient forests, stands Glamis Castle, a fortress steeped in legends of cursed bloodlines, phantom monks, and unspeakable secrets. Known as one of the most haunted castles in Scotland, it is a place where the past lingers in the most chilling ways. So let's step into its shadow and uncover the story of the Phantom Monk. Houska Castle, the ancestral home of the Earls of Strathmore and Kinghorn, is a place where history and horror intertwine. With its turrets, towers, and sprawling grounds, it is one of the most iconic castles in Scotland and one of the most haunted. But beneath its fairy tale exterior lies a history of dark secrets, cursed bloodlines, and ghostly apparitions. One of the most famous legends of Houska Castle is that of the Phantom Monk. He is said to be the spirit of a monk who was executed for heresy during the Reformation. According to the tale, the monk was walled up alive in the castle's chapel, his cries for help ignored as the mortar dried around him. To this day, his ghost is said to haunt the chapel, his spectral figure often seen kneeling in prayer or pacing the aisles. Visitors to the chapel have reported hearing faint chanting even when the room is empty. Some claim to see shadowy figures moving through the pews, their faces obscured by darkness. Others have felt an overwhelming sense of dread, as if the monk's spirit is still searching for redemption. But the Phantom Monk is not the only ghost said to roam Houska Castle. The castle is also home to the Grey Lady, said to be the spirit of Lady Janet Douglas, who was accused of witchcraft and burned at the stake in 1537. Her ghost is often seen in the castle's chapel, her spectral figure glowing faintly in the moonlight. Some say she appears as a harbinger of death, her presence foretelling tragedy. Another ghostly resident is the White Lady, who is said to haunt the castle's clock tower. Legend has it that she was a servant who fell in love with a member of the Leon family. When their affair was discovered, she was imprisoned in the tower, where she died of a broken heart. Her ghost is often seen gazing out of the tower's windows, her face pale and sorrowful. But perhaps the most chilling tale associated with Houska Castle is that of the monster of Glamis. It's said that in the 19th century, a child was born to the family with severe deformities. To hide the child from the world, he was kept in a secret room within the castle, never to be seen by outsiders. The child, known as the Monster of Glamis, lived his entire life in isolation, and his existence was kept a closely guarded secret. To this day, no one knows where the secret room is located, or if the child's spirit still lingers within the castle walls. Today, Houska Castle is a popular tourist destination, drawing visitors from around the world. But its ghostly inhabitants remind us that its history is not just one of grandeur, but also of sorrow and mystery. Who was the Phantom Monk, and why does he still haunt the chapel? What secrets lie in the castle's hidden rooms? And what other mysteries are waiting to be uncovered within its walls? As we leave the misty highlands of Houska Castle and its tales of cursed bloodlines and phantom monks behind, our journey now takes us to the rolling hills of Aberdeenshire, Scotland. Here, amidst the tranquil countryside, stands Houska Castle, a fortress steeped in legends of ghostly children, tragic romances, and restless spirits. Known for its eerie atmosphere and spectral sightings, it is a place where the past lingers in the most haunting ways. So let's step into its shadow and uncover the story of the ghostly children. Houska Castle, with its turrets, towers, and sprawling grounds, is one of Scotland's most iconic castles. Built in the 13th century, it has been home to some of Scotland's most powerful families, each leaving their mark on its history. But beneath its stately exterior lies a history of tragedy, mystery, and ghostly apparitions that have earned it a reputation as one of the most haunted castles in Scotland. One of the most famous hauntings at Houska Castle involves the ghostly children. Legend has it that in the 17th century, two young children, a boy and a girl, were playing in the castle's corridors when they vanished without a trace. Their disappearance was never explained, and their bodies were never found. To this day, their spirits are said to haunt the castle, their laughter and footsteps echoing through the halls. Visitors to Houska Castle have reported hearing the sound of children playing, even when no children are present. Some claim to see the figures of a boy and a girl running through the corridors, their faces pale and their eyes filled with mischief. Others have felt a sudden chill in the air, as if the children are passing by unseen. But the ghostly children are not the only spirits said to roam Houska Castle. The castle is also home to the Green Lady, a spectral figure often seen in the castle's drawing room. Legend has it that she was a noblewoman who died of a broken heart after her lover was killed in battle. Her ghost is said to wander the castle, her mournful cries echoing through the night. Another ghostly resident is the Grey Lady, who is said to haunt the castle's library. Legend has it that she was a servant who was wronged by the castle's lord and took her own life. Her ghost is often seen sitting in the library, her face pale and sorrowful. Today, Houska Castle is a popular tourist destination, drawing visitors from around the world. But its ghostly inhabitants remind us that its history is not just one of grandeur, but also of sorrow and mystery. Who were the ghostly children, and why do they still haunt the castle? What secrets lie in the castle's hidden rooms? And what other mysteries are waiting to be uncovered within its walls? As we leave the rolling hills of Houska Castle and its tales of spectral children behind, our next journey takes us to the misty mountains of Transylvania. Here, perched high on a rocky cliff, stands Bran Castle, a fortress steeped in legends of Dracula, hidden treasures and restless spirits. So, let's step into its shadow and uncover the story of the hidden treasure of Bran Castle. Perched high in the Carpathian Mountains of Transylvania, Bran Castle is a place where myth and history collide. Often referred to as Dracula's castle, its towering turrets and imposing walls have become synonymous with the legend of the vampire count. But while Bram Stoker's fictional Dracula never set foot here, Bran Castle's real history is just as fascinating and just as chilling. Built in the 14th century by the Saxons of Transylvania, Bran Castle served as a fortress to protect against invading Ottoman forces. Its strategic location allowed it to control the mountain pass between Transylvania and Wallia, making it a key stronghold for centuries. But it wasn't until the 15th century that the castle became linked to one of history's most infamous figures, Vlad the Impaler. Vlad III, known as Vlad the Impaler, was a ruthless ruler of Wallachia who inspired Stoker's Dracula. While there's no evidence that Vlad ever lived in Bran Castle, he is said to have passed through its dungeons during his campaigns. The castle's dark, damp cells are rumored to have held his prisoners, many of whom met gruesome fates. Today, visitors to the castle can explore these dungeons, where the air is thick with the weight of history, and perhaps something more. Bran Castle is also home to legends of hidden treasure. It's said that during the Ottoman invasions, the castle's inhabitants hid a vast fortune within its walls. Over the centuries, countless treasure hunters have searched for the hoard, but none have succeeded. Some believe the treasure is protected by a curse, while others think it's guarded by the spirits of those who hid it. But the castle's most famous legend is, of course, its connection to Dracula. While Stoker's novel never mentions Bran Castle, its Gothic architecture and eerie atmosphere made it a natural fit for the Dracula myth. Visitors to the castle often report feeling an unsettling presence, as if they're being watched by unseen eyes. Some claim to hear faint whispers in the corridors, while others swear they've seen shadowy figures moving through the halls. One of the most chilling tales associated with Bran Castle involves the White Lady, Legend has it that she was a noble woman who fell in love with a soldier stationed at the castle. When her lover was killed in battle, she threw herself from the castle's highest tower. Her ghost is said to wander the castle grounds, her mournful cries echoing through the night. Today, Bran Castle is one of Romania's most popular tourist destinations, drawing visitors from around the world. But its ghostly inhabitants remind us that its history is not just one of grandeur, but also of sorrow and mystery. Who was the White Lady, and why does she still wander the halls? What secrets lie in the castle's dungeons, and where is the hidden treasure of Bran Castle? As we leave the misty mountains of Transylvania and the legends of Dracula and hidden treasures behind, our journey now takes us to the lush countryside of Normandy, France. Here, amidst rolling hills and ancient forests, stands Château de Gisors, a fortress steeped in legends of the Knights Templar, secret tunnels, and untold riches. Known for its mysterious underground passages and ties to one of history's most enigmatic orders, it is a place where the past whispers of secrets waiting to be uncovered. So let's step into its shadow and explore the story of the secret tunnels. In the heart of Normandy, France, where the Seine River winds through lush valleys, stands Château Gisors, a fortress steeped in history, mystery, and legends of the Knights Templar. Built in the 11th century by Robert II of Bellême, it was originally a wooden motte and bailey castle before being rebuilt in stone by Henry I of England. Over the centuries, it served as a strategic stronghold during the Norman conquests, a royal residence, and a prison. But beneath its stone walls lies a secret that has baffled historians, archaeologists, and treasure hunters for centuries. A labyrinth of hidden tunnels, said to conceal untold riches and forbidden knowledge. The legend of the secret tunnels is deeply intertwined with the Knights Templar, the powerful medieval order of warrior monks. Founded in 1119 to protect Christian pilgrims traveling to the Holy Land, the Templars amassed vast wealth, land, and influence. By the 13th century, they were one of the most powerful organizations in Europe, with a network of fortresses, banks, and fleets. But their power made them targets. In 1307, King Philip IV of France, deeply in debt to the Templars, orchestrated their downfall, accusing them of heresy, blasphemy, and other crimes. Before their arrest, it's said that the Templars hid their treasures in secret locations across Europe, and Château de Gisors is believed to be one of them. The castle's underground tunnels are said to stretch for miles, connecting to other fortresses and even to the nearby town. Some believe these tunnels were used by the Templars to transport their treasures, while others think they were hiding places for sacred relics, including the Holy Grail or the Ark of the Covenant. One of the most intriguing aspects of the tunnels is their construction. Medieval engineers were known for their ingenuity, and the tunnels at Gisors are no exception. They are believed to have been built with hidden entrances, trapdoors, and false walls to confuse intruders. Some passages are said to lead to dead ends, while others spiral deep into the earth, creating a maze that only the initiated could navigate. The mystery of the tunnels gained international attention in the 20th century. In 1946, a man named Roger Lomoy, the castle's caretaker, claimed to have discovered a hidden chamber beneath the castle's chapel. He described a vast underground vault, supported by stone pillars, filled with Templar treasures, including gold, jewels, and ancient artifacts. Lomoy even claimed to have seen a sarcophagus, which he believed contained the remains of a high-ranking Templar. However, when authorities investigated, they found no trace of the chamber, and Lomoy was dismissed as a fraud. But Lomoy's story didn't end there. In the 1960s, a team of archaeologists conducted a thorough investigation of the castle grounds. Using ground-penetrating radar, and other advanced technologies, they detected anomalies beneath the chapel, evidence of large man-made structures. However, the French government halted further exploration, citing concerns about the castle's structural integrity. To this day, no one knows if Lomoy's chamber exists, or if it was sealed off before it could be found. But the tunnels are not the only mystery of Château de Gisors. The castle is also said to be haunted by the spirits of Templar knights who were executed on its grounds. Visitors have reported hearing the clinking of armor and the sound of footsteps echoing through the halls, even when no one is there. Others claim to see shadowy figures moving through the castle's corridors, their faces obscured by darkness. Today, Château de Gisors stands as a testament to the enduring allure of the Knights Templar and their secrets. But its hidden tunnels remind us that some mysteries are meant to remain unsolved. What lies beneath the castle's stone walls? Are the Templar treasures still hidden there, waiting to be discovered? Or are the tunnels guarding something even more extraordinary, something beyond our understanding? As we leave the enigmatic tunnels of Château Gisors, our next journey takes us to the rolling hills of Sussex, England. Here, amidst the tranquil countryside, stands Houska Castle, fortress steeped in legends of lost treasures, ghostly apparitions, and medieval intrigue. So let's step into its shadow and uncover the story of the lost treasure of Houska Castle. Nestled in the rolling hills of East Sussex, England, Houska Castle is a picture-perfect medieval fortress, its reflection shimmering in the tranquil waters of its moat. Built in 1385 by Sir Edward Dallingrig, a knight of Edward III, it was designed as both a defensive stronghold and a luxurious residence. With its symmetrical towers, crenellated battlements, and imposing gatehouse, Houska Castle is often hailed as one of the finest examples of 14th century military architecture. But beneath its fairy tale exterior lies a history of intrigue, rebellion, and a tantalizing mystery, the legend of its lost treasure. The story of Houska Castle's lost treasure begins during the tumultuous years of the English Civil War in the 17th century. As parliamentarian forces swept across England, dismantling royalist strongholds, Houska Castle fell into their hands. The castle's owners, the Lewittenor family, were staunch royalists, and they knew their wealth was at risk. Fearing the loss of their riches, gold, jewels, and priceless artifacts, they are said to have hidden a vast treasure within the castle's walls before fleeing. When the parliamentarians arrived, they found the castle abandoned, its treasures nowhere to be found. Over the centuries, countless treasure hunters have searched for Houska's hidden hoard, but none have succeeded. Some believe the treasure was buried beneath the castle's foundations, while others think it was concealed in a secret chamber or even sunk in the moat. The castle's intricate design, with its hidden passages, false walls, and labyrinthine corridors, has only added to the mystery. One of the most compelling theories involves the castle's well. Located in the inner courtyard, the well is over 100 feet deep and was a vital source of water during sieges. Some believe the treasure was lowered into the well and hidden in a side chamber, accessible only to those who knew its secrets. In the 19th century, an attempt was made to explore the well, but the effort was abandoned due to the risk of collapse. To this day, the well remains unexplored, its secrets intact. Another theory suggests that the treasure was hidden in the castle's underground tunnels. Medieval castles often had secret passages for escape or storage, and Houska is no exception. Some believe these tunnels connect to nearby structures or even lead to the coast, providing a means of transporting the treasure to safety. However, no definitive evidence of such tunnels has ever been found. But the lost treasure is not the only mystery of Houska Castle. The castle is also said to be haunted by the spirits of its former inhabitants. Visitors have reported hearing the sound of footsteps echoing through the halls, even when no one is there. Others claim to see shadowy figures moving through the castle's corridors, their faces obscured by darkness. One of the most famous ghosts of Houska Castle is the White Lady, said to be the spirit of a noblewoman who died of a broken heart. Legend has it that she was betrothed to a knight who was killed in battle, and her ghost is said to wander the castle grounds, her mournful cries echoing through the night. Another ghostly resident is the Grey Lady, who is said to haunt the castle's chapel. Legend has it that she was a servant who was wronged by the castle's lord and took her own life. Her ghost is often seen sitting in the chapel, her face pale and sorrowful. Today, Houska Castle is a popular tourist destination, drawing visitors from around the world. But its lost treasure and ghostly inhabitants remind us that its history is not just one of grandeur, but also of sorrow and mystery. What happened to the treasure hidden within its walls? Is it still there, waiting to be discovered? Or was it found long ago, its secret lost to time? As we leave the tranquil moat and rolling hills of Houska Castle, our next journey takes us to the rugged highlands of Scotland. Here, amidst the misty lochs and ancient forests, stands Houska Castle, a fortress steeped in legends of hidden rooms, ghostly pipers, and untold secrets. So let's step into its shadow and uncover the story of the secret room of Houska Castle. Perched on a small island where three Scottish lochs meet, Loch Duich, Loch Long, and Loch Elsh, Houska Castle is a picture of rugged beauty. With its stone walls rising against the backdrop of misty mountains, it's one of the most photographed castles in the world, a symbol of Scotland's dramatic landscapes and storied past. But beneath its postcard-perfect exterior lies a history steeped in mystery, betrayal, and ghostly whispers. Houska's origins date back to the 13th century, when it was built as a stronghold for the Clan Mackenzie and their allies, the Clan MacRae. The castle's strategic location, at the confluence of three lochs, made it a vital defensive position against Viking invasions and rival clans. For centuries, it served as a fortress, its thick walls and imposing towers standing as a testament to the resilience of its inhabitants. But in 1719, Houska met its downfall during the Jacobite uprising. The castle had become a staging ground for Spanish troops, allied with the Jacobites, who were fighting to restore the Stuart monarchy to the British throne. In May of that year, 3 British naval ships bombarded Houska, reducing it to ruins. The castle lay in decay for nearly 200 years, a silent witness to the passage of time and the shifting tides of history. It wasn't until the early 20th century that Houska was restored to its former glory. Between 1912 and 1932, Lieutenant Colonel John MacRae Gilstrap led an ambitious restoration project, rebuilding the castle stone by stone. But during the restoration, workers uncovered a hidden room, a secret chamber concealed within the castle's thick walls. Inside, they found a collection of ancient artifacts, including a dagger, a rusted key, and a set of bones. Who these remains belonged to and why they were hidden remains a mystery. Some believe the room was used as a prison, where enemies of the Mackenzies or Macquis were held captive. Others think it was a hiding place for treasure or forbidden secrets, perhaps linked to the Jacobite cause. The discovery of the dagger and key has fueled speculation that the room may have been used for clandestine meetings or as a safe haven during times of conflict. Houska is also said to be haunted by the ghost of a Spanish soldier. During the Jacobite uprising, Spanish troops were stationed at the castle to support the Jacobite cause. When the British attacked, Many of these soldiers were killed, and their spirits are said to linger. Visitors have reported seeing a figure in 18th century Spanish uniform wandering the battlements, his face etched with sorrow. Some claim to hear the sound of marching boots or faint whispers in Spanish, as if the soldiers are still guarding the castle. But the most famous ghost of Island Dunnan is the Phantom Piper. Legend has it that during a clan gathering, a piper was sent into the castle's secret tunnels to explore. As he played his pipes to signal his progress, the music suddenly stopped. Search parties scoured the tunnels but found no trace of the piper. To this day, his ghostly piping can sometimes be heard echoing through the castle, a mournful tune that fades into silence. Some believe the piper became lost in the tunnels and perished, while others think he stumbled upon a secret so dangerous that he was never meant to return. Today, Dunnan Castle stands as a symbol of Scottish resilience and heritage, its restoration a testament to the enduring spirit of its people. But its secrets remain hidden, waiting to be uncovered. What lies in the hidden room? Who was the Spanish soldier, and why does he still walk the battlements? And where did the Phantom Piper disappear to all those centuries ago? As we leave the misty lochs of Island Dunnan, our next journey takes us to the heart of Scotland's capital, where a fortress stands atop an ancient volcanic rock. Welcome to Edinburgh Castle, a place where legends of a cursed crown, ghostly apparitions, and royal intrigue await. Perched atop Castle Rock, a towering volcanic crag in the heart of Scotland's capital, Edinburgh Castle is a fortress steeped in history, power, and mystery. For over 1,000 years, it has served as a royal residence, a military stronghold, and a symbol of Scottish sovereignty. But within its ancient walls lies a tale of intrigue, betrayal, and a cursed crown that has brought misfortune to all who possessed it. The story of the cursed crown begins with the honours of Scotland, the oldest crown jewels in the British Isles. Crafted in the 15th and 16th centuries, the honours include a crown, sceptre, and sword of state, each adorned with precious gems and intricate goldwork. The crown, made of Scottish gold and set with 94 pearls, 10 diamonds, and 33 gemstones, is a masterpiece of medieval craftsmanship. These regalia were used in the coronations of Scottish monarchs, including Mary, Queen of Scots, and her son, James VI. But their history is not just one of grandeur, it is also a tale of danger and dark legends. The curse is said to have originated during the turbulent years of the 17th century, when Scotland was torn by political and religious strife. In 1651, during the English Civil War, the honours were hidden to prevent them from falling into the hands of Oliver Cromwell's forces. They were buried beneath the floor of Kinneff Church, where they remained for nearly a decade. When they were finally recovered, some believed they had been tainted by the bloodshed and betrayal of the era, cursed to bring misfortune to those who wielded them. The curse seemed to take hold during the reign of Charles I, the last monarch to be crowned with the honours of Scotland. His reign ended in disaster, culminating in his execution in 1649. His son, Charles II, was also crowned with the honours, but his reign was marked by exile, war, and political turmoil. After his death, the honours were locked away in Edinburgh Castle, their use discontinued for over a century. But the curse did not end there. In 1818, the honours were rediscovered by Sir Walter Scott, the famed Scottish novelist, who led a search for the long-lost regalia. When they were unearthed from a dusty chest in the castle's crown room, some claimed to feel an eerie presence in the air, as if the spirits of the past were watching. Since then, the honours have been displayed in Edinburgh Castle, but their curse is said to linger. Visitors to the castle have reported strange occurrences in the crown room, where the honors are kept. Some claim to hear faint whispers or the sound of footsteps echoing through the chamber, even when it's empty. Others have felt an overwhelming sense of dread, as if the cursed crown is exerting its influence. One of the most chilling tales associated with the honors involves a security guard who worked at the castle in the 20th century. He claimed to have seen the ghost of a woman in medieval dress standing near the crown, her face pale and sorrowful. When he approached her, she vanished, leaving behind a cold spot in the air. Some believe she was the spirit of Mary, Queen of Scots, forever tied to the crown she once wore. Another ghostly resident of Edinburgh Castle is the Lone Piper, said to be the spirit of a young piper who vanished in the castle's underground tunnels. Legend has it that he was sent to explore the tunnels, but he never returned. To this day, his ghostly piping can sometimes be heard echoing through the castle, a mournful tune that fades into silence. Today, the honors of Scotland are a symbol of Scotland's rich history and enduring spirit, but their curse reminds us that power often comes at a price. What is the true nature of the curse? Is it a product of superstition, or does it hold a deeper, darker truth? And who will be the next to feel its effects? As we leave the ancient walls of Edinburgh Castle and its cursed crown behind, our next journey takes us to the windswept plains of Denmark. Here, amidst the tranquil countryside, stands Dragsholm Castle, a fortress steeped in legends of a cursed wedding, ghostly apparitions, and untold secrets. So let's step into its shadow and uncover the story of the cursed wedding of Dragsholm Castle. In the heart of Denmark's Zealand region, where the rolling plains meet the shores of the Øresfjord, stands Dragsholm Castle, a fortress steeped in history, romance, and tragedy. Built in the 12th century, it is one of the oldest secular buildings in Denmark. Its whitewashed walls and red-tiled roofs, a striking contrast to the surrounding landscape. Originally constructed as a fortified palace for the Bishop of Roskilde, Dragsholm Castle has served many roles over the centuries: a noble residence, a prison, and now a luxury hotel. But beneath its picturesque exterior lies a tale of a cursed wedding, ghostly apparitions, and a love story that ended in despair. The story of the cursed wedding begins in the 16th century, during the reign of King Christian IV. Dragsholm Castle was then owned by the noble Billow family, who hosted lavish celebrations and royal gatherings within its walls. But one such celebration, a wedding, would become the stuff of legend. The bride was a young noblewoman, renowned for her beauty and grace. Her name has been lost to history, but her story lives on in the whispers of the castle's halls. The groom was a dashing knight, celebrated for his bravery and charm. Their union was meant to unite two powerful families, and their wedding was to be the event of the season, attended by the finest families in Denmark. The festivities began with great fanfare. The castle's great hall was adorned with flowers and tapestries, and the air was filled with the sound of music and laughter. But as the feast reached its peak, a mysterious stranger arrived at the castle, uninvited and cloaked in black. His face was hidden beneath a hood, and his presence sent a chill through the room. He approached the bride and whispered something in her ear, causing her to collapse in tears. Before anyone could react, the stranger vanished, leaving behind an air of unease. That night, the bride was found dead in her chambers, her face frozen in an expression of terror. The groom, overcome with grief, took his own life shortly after. The wedding, meant to be a joyous occasion, became a symbol of sorrow and despair. To this day, the bride's ghost is said to haunt the castle, her spectral figure often seen wandering the halls in her wedding dress. But the cursed wedding is not the only mystery of Houska Castle. The castle is also home to numerous ghostly apparitions, each with its own tragic tale. One of the most famous is the Grey Lady, said to be the spirit of a servant who was wronged by the castle's lord. Her ghost is often seen in the castle's kitchen, her face pale and sorrowful. Another ghostly resident is the White Lady, who is said to haunt the castle's chapel. Legend has it that she was a noble woman who died of a broken heart after her lover was killed in battle. Her ghost is said to wander the castle grounds, her mournful cries echoing through the night. Today, Houska Castle is a popular tourist destination, drawing visitors from around the world. But its ghostly inhabitants remind us that its history is not just one of grandeur, but also of sorrow and mystery. Who was the mysterious stranger who cursed the wedding? Why does the bride's ghost still wander the halls? And what other secrets lie hidden within the castle's walls? As we leave the wind-swept plains of Denmark and the tragic tale of the cursed wedding behind, our next journey takes us to the rugged coast of Scotland. Here, amidst the rolling hills and ancient forests, stands Houska Castle, a fortress steeped in legends of a cursed well, ghostly apparitions, and medieval intrigue. So, let's step into its shadow and uncover the story of the cursed well of Houska Castle. On the wind-swept coast of Dumfries in Galloway, Scotland, where the Solway Firth meets the rolling hills, stands Houska Castle, a fortress steeped in history, mystery, and dark legends. Built in the 13th century, its unique triangular design and imposing double moat make it one of the most distinctive castles in Scotland. But beneath its rugged exterior lies a tale of a cursed well, ghostly apparitions, and a history of betrayal and bloodshed. The story of the cursed well begins in the 14th century. During the Wars of Scottish Independence, Houska Castle was a stronghold of the Maxwell family, loyal supporters of the Scottish crown. In 1300, the castle was besieged by the forces of Edward I of England, known as the Hammer of the Scots. Despite being vastly outnumbered, the defenders held out for weeks, relying on the castle's well for water. But as the siege dragged on, the well began to run dry, and the defenders grew desperate. Legend has it that the castle's lord, Sir Eustace Maxwell, made a pact with a mysterious figure, a stranger who appeared at the castle gates under the cover of darkness. In exchange for water, the stranger demanded a terrible price: the life of Sir Eustace's youngest daughter. Desperate to save his people, Sir Eustace agreed, and the well was miraculously refilled. But the next morning, his daughter was found dead, her body lying beside the well. From that day forward, the well was said to be cursed. Those who drank from it met untimely deaths, and the water was said to turn blood red during times of strife. The curse became so feared that the well was eventually sealed, its location lost to time. But the cursed well is not the only mystery of Houska Castle. The castle is also said to be haunted by the spirits of those who perished during its many sieges. Visitors have reported hearing the clash of swords and the cries of soldiers echoing through the ruins, as if the battles of the past are still being fought. One of the most famous ghosts of Houska is the Green Lady, said to be the spirit of Sir Eustace's daughter. Her ghost is often seen near the well, her face pale and sorrowful. Some claim to hear her weeping, her mournful cries echoing through the night. Another ghostly resident is the Grey Knight, a spectral figure often seen patrolling the castle's battlements. Legend has it that he was a knight who betrayed the Maxwell family during a siege, and his ghost is said to wander the castle, forever seeking redemption. Today, Houska Castle is a popular tourist destination, drawing visitors from around the world. But its cursed well and ghostly inhabitants remind us that its history is not just one of grandeur, but also of sorrow and mystery. What is the true nature of the curse? Is the well still hidden within the castle's walls, waiting to be discovered? And what other secrets lie buried beneath its ruins? As we leave the windswept moors of Houska Castle and its tales of the cursed well behind, our next journey takes us to the opulent halls of France. Here, amidst the grandeur of the Palace of Versailles, lies a tale of a cursed mirror, ghostly apparitions, and royal intrigue. So, let's step into its shadow and uncover the story of the cursed mirror of Chateau de Versailles. In the heart of France, amidst the opulent splendor of the Palace of Versailles, lies a tale of beauty, betrayal, and a cursed mirror that has haunted its halls for centuries. Built by Louis XIV, the Sun King, Versailles is a symbol of absolute monarchy and unparalleled luxury. But within its gilded walls lies a darker story, one of a mirror said to hold the souls of those who gaze into it. The cursed mirror is located in the Hall of Mirrors, a grand gallery that stretches over 240 feet and is adorned with 300 and 557 mirrors. These mirrors were a marvel of 17th century craftsmanship, designed to reflect the light of thousands of candles and create an illusion of infinite space. But one mirror, hidden among the others, is said to be different. Legend has it that the mirror was crafted by a disgraced artisan who was dismissed from the court of Louis XIV. Seeking revenge, he imbued the mirror with a curse, using forbidden alchemical techniques and dark rituals. The mirror was installed in the Hall of Mirrors, its true nature hidden among its flawless counterparts. The curse began to manifest almost immediately. Courtiers who gazed into the mirror reported seeing strange reflections, faces that were not their own, shadowy figures moving behind them, or even glimpses of their own deaths. Some claimed to hear whispers emanating from the glass, voices speaking in languages they could understand. One of the most famous victims of the curse was Marie Antoinette. It's said that she often lingered before the mirror, captivated by its beauty. But as the French Revolution loomed, her reflections grew darker, showing her surrounded by flames and chaos. On the eve of her execution, she was said to have shattered the mirror in a fit of rage, but the pieces were secretly collected and reassembled. The mirror's curse did not end with the fall of the monarchy. In the 19th century, a curator working at Versailles claimed to have seen the ghost of Marie Antoinette in the mirror, her face pale and sorrowful. He died shortly after, his death attributed to a sudden illness. Today, the cursed mirror remains one of Versailles' most closely guarded secrets. Visitors to the Hall of Mirrors often report feeling an eerie presence, as if they are being watched. Some claim to see fleeting reflections of figures in period dress, while others feel an overwhelming sense of dread when they approach the mirror. What is the true nature of the curse? Is the mirror a portal to another realm, or does it hold the souls of those who have gazed into it? And who will be the next to fall under its spell? As we leave the gilded halls of Versailles and its cursed mirror behind, our next journey takes us to the rugged mountains of Transylvania. Here, amidst the ancient forests and misty peaks, stands Houska Castle, a fortress steeped in legends of a vanishing army, ghostly apparitions, and medieval intrigue. So, let's step into its shadow and uncover the story of the vanishing army of Houska Castle. In the heart of Transylvania, where the Carpathian Mountains rise like ancient sentinels, stands Houska Castle, a fortress steeped in history, mystery, and dark legends. Built in the 15th century by John Hunyadi, one of Hungary's greatest military leaders, it is a masterpiece of Gothic architecture, its towering walls and imposing towers, a testament to its strategic importance. But beneath its grandeur lies a tale of a vanishing army, ghostly apparitions, and a mystery that has baffled historians for centuries. The story of the vanishing army begins in the 15th century, during the height of the Ottoman Wars. Houska Castle was a key stronghold in the defense of Europe against the advancing Ottoman Empire. John Hunyadi, known as the White Knight, was a formidable warrior who led numerous cumsibs against the Ottomans. But one campaign in particular has become the stuff of legend. According to the tale, Hunyadi assembled an army of 10,000 men to launch a surprise attack on an Ottoman stronghold. The army marched from Houska Castle under the cover of darkness, their path lit only by the faint glow of the moon. But as they approached their destination, a thick fog descended, enveloping the soldiers in an impenetrable shroud. When the fog lifted, the army had vanished without a trace. No bodies were ever found, and no evidence of a battle was discovered. The army had simply disappeared, as if swallowed by the earth itself. Some believe they were betrayed and ambushed by the Ottomans, while others think they fell victim to a supernatural force. The mystery of the vanishing army has haunted Houska Castle ever since. Visitors to the castle have reported hearing the sound of marching feet and the clinking of armor, even when no one is there. Others claim to see shadowy figures moving through the castle's corridors, their faces obscured by darkness. One of the most famous ghosts of Houska Castle is the White Lady, said to be the spirit of a noble woman who died of a broken heart. Her ghost is often seen in the castle's chapel, her face pale and sorrowful. Some say she appears as a harbinger of death, her presence foretelling tragedy. Another ghostly resident is the Black Knight, a spectral figure often seen patrolling the castle's battlements. Legend has it that he was a knight who betrayed Hunyadi during a siege, and his ghost is said to wander the castle, forever seeking redemption. Today, Houska Castle is a popular tourist destination, drawing visitors from around the world. But its ghostly inhabitants remind us that its history is not just one of grandeur, but also of sorrow and mystery. What happened to the vanishing army? Were they betrayed, or did they fall victim to something far more sinister? And what other secrets lie hidden within the castle's walls? As we leave the misty peaks of Houska Castle and its tales of the vanishing army behind, our next journey takes us to the rugged hills of Slovakia. Here, amidst the ancient forests and rolling plains, stands Houska Castle, a fortress steeped in legends of disappearing prisoners, ghostly apparitions, and medieval intrigue. So let's step into its shadow and uncover the story of the disappearing prisoners of Houska Castle. Perched high on a limestone hill in eastern Slovakia, Houska Castle is one of the largest and most imposing medieval fortresses in Central Europe. Built in the 12th century, its sprawling ruins stretch across 41,000 square meters, a testament to its former grandeur and strategic importance. But within its crumbling walls lies a chilling mystery, the tale of disappearing prisoners who vanished without a trace, leaving behind only whispers of their fate. The story of the disappearing prisoners dates back to the 15th century, when Houska Castle was a key stronghold in the Kingdom of Hungary. During this time, the castle served as a prison for interims of the crown, including rebellious nobles, captured soldiers, and political dissidents. But it wasn't just the castle's dungeons that were feared, it was the rumors of what happened to those who were imprisoned there. According to legend, prisoners held in the castle's dungeons would vanish overnight, their cells found empty with no sign of escape. Guards reported hearing faint cries and the sound of dragging chains, but when they investigated, they found nothing. Some claim to see shadowy figures moving through the corridors, their faces obscured by darkness. One of the most infamous cases involved a group of prisoners who were being held for treason. They were locked in a cell deep within the castle's underground dungeons, with no windows and only a single heavy door. The next morning, the cell was empty, the door still locked from the outside. No trace of the prisoners was ever found, and the incident was never explained. Over the centuries, similar disappearances were reported, each one adding to the castle's dark reputation. Some believe the prisoners were secretly executed and their bodies disposed of in hidden chambers. Others think they fell victim to supernatural forces, perhaps the restless spirits of those who had died within the castle's walls. Today, Houska Castle is a popular tourist destination, drawing visitors from around the world. But its ghostly inhabitants remind us that its history is not just one of grandeur, but also of sorrow and mystery. What happened to the disappearing prisoners? Were they victims of foul play, or did they encounter something far more sinister? And what other secrets lie hidden within the castle's walls? As we leave the rugged hills of Houska Castle and its tales of disappearing prisoners behind, our next journey takes us to the rolling plains of Hungary. Here, amidst the tranquil countryside, stands Houska Castle, a fortress steeped in legends of a vanishing servant, ghostly apparitions, and medieval intrigue. So, let's step into its shadow and uncover the story of the vanishing servant of Houska Castle. Overlooking the Danube River, where the rolling hills of Hungary meet the Carpathian Mountains, stands Houska Castle, a fortress steeped in history, mystery, and dark legends. Built in the 13th century, it served as a royal residence for Hungarian kings and a strategic stronghold during the Ottoman Wars. But within its ancient walls lies a chilling tale of a vanishing servant, ghostly apparitions, and a mystery that has baffled historians for centuries. The story of the vanishing servant dates back to the 15th century, during the reign of King Matthias Corvinus. Houska Castle was then a center of power and culture, its halls filled with the finest artists, scholars, and craftsmen of the Renaissance. But beneath the surface of this golden age lay a darker undercurrent of intrigue and betrayal. According to legend, a young servant named Janos was tasked with cleaning the castle's secret tunnels, a labyrinth of underground passages used for escape and storage. One evening, Janos entered the tunnels with a lantern and a broom, but he never returned. When guards searched for him the next morning, they found his lantern and broom lying in the middle of a tunnel, but there was no sign of Janos. The disappearance sparked a wave of fear and speculation among the castle's inhabitants. Some believed Janos had stumbled upon a secret so dangerous that he was silenced. Others thought he had been lured into the tunnels by a malevolent force, perhaps the restless spirit of a former prisoner or a vengeful noble. Over the centuries, similar disappearances were reported, each one adding to the castle's dark reputation. Visitors to the tunnels have reported hearing faint whispers and the sound of footsteps echoing through the corridors, even when no one is there. Others claim to see shadowy figures moving through the tunnels, their faces obscured by darkness. One of the most famous ghosts of Houska Castle is the White Lady, said to be the spirit of a noblewoman who died of a broken heart. Her ghost is often seen in the castle's chapel, her face pale and sorrowful. Some say she appears as a harbinger of death, her presence foretelling tragedy. Another ghostly resident is the Black Knight, a spectral figure often seen patrolling the castle's battlements. Legend has it that he was a knight who betrayed the king during a siege and his ghost is said to wander the castle, forever seeking redemption. Today, Houska Castle is a popular tourist destination, drawing visitors from around the world, but its ghostly inhabitants remind us that its history is not just one of grandeur, but also of sorrow and mystery. What happened to Janos and the other vanishing servants? Were they victims of foul play, or did they encounter something far more sinister? And what other secrets lie hidden within the castle's walls? As we leave the rolling hills of Houska Castle and its tales of the vanishing servant behind, our next journey takes us to the rugged highlands of Scotland. Here, amidst the misty lochs and ancient forests, stands Castle Fraser, a fortress steeped in legends of vanishing guests, ghostly apparitions, and medieval intrigue. So let's step into its shadow and uncover the story of the vanishing guests of Castle Fraser. Nestled in the rolling hills of Aberdeenshire, Scotland, Castle Fraser stands as one of the most magnificent and enigmatic castles in the country. Built in the 16th century, its towering turrets and sprawling grounds are a testament to the wealth and power of the Fraser family. But beneath its grandeur lies a chilling mystery, the tale of vanishing guests who disappeared without a trace, leaving behind only whispers of their fate. The story of the vanishing guests dates back to the 18th century, during a time when Castle Fraser was a hub of social gatherings and lavish parties. One such event was a grand banquet hosted by the Fraser family, attended by nobles, merchants, and dignitaries from across Scotland. The festivities lasted late into the night, with music, dancing, and feasting filling the castle's halls. But as the night wore on, something strange began to happen. Guests who had been seen laughing and dancing suddenly vanished, their absence unnoticed until the next morning. When the Frasers conducted a search of the castle, they found no trace of the missing guests, no signs of struggle, no footprints, and no evidence of their departure. The disappearances were never explained, and the incident became the subject of local legend. Some believed the guests had fallen victim to a secret plot, perhaps orchestrated by a rival family or a disgruntled servant. Others thought they had encountered something supernatural, perhaps a portal to another realm hidden within the castle's walls. Over the centuries, similar disappearances were reported, each one adding to the castle's dark reputation. Visitors to Castle Fraser have reported hearing faint laughter and the sound of footsteps echoing through the halls, even when no one is there. Others claim to see shadowy figures moving through the corridors, their faces obscured by darkness. One of the most famous ghosts of Castle Fraser is the Green Lady, said to be the spirit of a noble woman who died of a broken heart. Her ghost is often seen in the castle's chapel, her face pale and sorrowful. Some say she appears as a harbinger of death, her presence foretelling tragedy. Another ghostly resident is the Grey Lady, who is said to haunt the castle's library. Legend has it that she was a servant who was wronged by the castle's lord and took her own life. Her ghost is often seen sitting in the library, her face pale and sorrowful. Today, Castle Fraser is a popular tourist destination, drawing visitors from around the world. But its ghostly inhabitants remind us that its history is not just one of grandeur, but also of sorrow and mystery. What happened to the vanishing guests? Were they victims of foul play, or did they encounter something far more sinister? And what other secrets lie hidden within the castle's walls? As we leave the misty highlands of Castle Fraser and its tales of vanishing guests behind, our next journey takes us to the dense forests of Germany. Here, amidst the ancient trees and rugged hills, stands Burg Eltz, a fortress steeped in legends of a phantom horse, ghostly apparitions, and medieval intrigue. So let's step into its shadow and uncover the story of the Phantom Horse of Burg Eltz. Deep in the Moselle Valley, where the Rhine River winds through ancient forests and rugged hills, stands Burg Eltz, a medieval fortress that seems to have sprung from the pages of a fairy tale. Built in the 12th century, its turrets and towers rise dramatically from a rocky outcrop, surrounded by dense woodland. But beneath its enchanting exterior lies a tale of a phantom horse, ghostly apparitions, and a mystery that has haunted the castle for centuries. The story of the Phantom Horse dates back to the 16th century, during a time of great turmoil in the region. Burg Eltz was besieged by rival lords who sought to claim its strategic slick and vast wealth. During one particularly brutal siege, a knight from the Eltz family attempted to escape the castle under the cover of darkness, riding his trusted steed through a secret tunnel. But as they emerged from the tunnel, they were ambushed by enemy soldiers. The knight was killed, and his horse, struck by an arrow, fled into the forest, never to be seen again. From that day forward, the ghostly figure of the knight's horse has been seen galloping through the castle grounds, its hooves pounding the earth, even when no tracks are left behind. Witnesses describe the horse as a spectral figure, its coat shimmering like moonlight, its eyes glowing with an otherworldly light. Some claim to hear the sound of its neighing echoing through the forest, a mournful cry that sends chills down the spine. The Phantom Horse is not the only ghostly resident of Burg Eltz. The castle is also said to be haunted by the spirit of the knight himself, often seen riding the horse through the castle's courtyards. His ghost is described as a figure in full armor, his face obscured by a helmet, his presence accompanied by the clinking of chainmail and the creak of leather. Another famous ghost is the White Lady, said to be the spirit of a noble woman who died of a broken heart. Her ghost is often seen in the castle's chapel, her face pale and sorrowful. Some say she appears as a harbinger of death, her presence foretelling tragedy. Today, Burg Eltz is one of the most well-preserved medieval castles in Germany, drawing visitors from around the world. But its ghostly inhabitants remind us that its history is not just one of grandeur, but also of sorrow and mystery. Who was the knight, and why does his horse still roam the castle grounds? What other secrets lie hidden within the castle's walls, and what is the true nature of the Phantom Horse? As we leave the dense forests of Burg Eltz and its tales of the Phantom Horse behind, our next journey takes us to the rugged coast of Wales. Here, amidst the misty hills and ancient fortifications, stands Conwy Castle, a fortress steeped in legends of a phantom archer, ghostly apparitions, and medieval intrigue. So let's step into its shadow and uncover the story of the Phantom Archer of Conwy Castle. Rising from the rugged coastline of North Wales, Conwy Castle is a masterpiece of medieval engineering. Built by King Edward I in the late 13th century, its 8 massive towers and imposing walls were designed to dominate the landscape and assert English power over the Welsh. But within its stone walls lies a history of conflict, intrigue, and ghostly apparitions. Conwy Castle's construction was a feat of its time, taking just 4 years to complete. It was part of Edward's iron ring of fortresses, built to suppress Welsh resistance. But the castle's history is not just one of conquest, it's also a tale of betrayal and tragedy. In the 14th century, the castle became a prison for Richard II, who was betrayed by his cousin, Henry Bolingbroke. Richard was held captive in Conwy before being taken to Pontefract Castle, where he met his mysterious end. Some say his spirit still lingers in Conwy, a restless king, forever bound to the place of his betrayal. But Richard II is not the only ghost said to haunt Conwy Castle. The most famous spectre is the Phantom Archer, a ghostly figure often seen on the castle's battlements. Dressed in medieval garb, he is said to be the spirit of a Welsh archer who died defending the castle during a siege. Visitors have reported seeing him draw his bow, aiming at unseen enemies before vanishing into thin air. Others claim to hear the twang of his bowstring and the whistle of arrows flying through the air. The castle's dark dungeons are also said to be haunted by the spirits of prisoners who perished within their walls. Cold spots, sudden drops in temperature, and the sound of faint whispers are often reported in these areas. Some visitors have even claimed to feel unseen hands gripping their shoulders or tugging at their clothes. One of the most chilling tales associated with Houska Castle involves the Lady in White. Legend has it that she was the wife of a nobleman who was executed for treason. Heartbroken and unable to bear the shame, she threw herself from the castle's highest tower. Her ghost is said to wander the castle grounds, her mournful cries echoing through the night. Today, Houska Castle stands as a testament to medieval power and ambition. But its ghostly inhabitants remind us that its history is not just one of grandeur, but also of suffering and loss. Who was the Phantom Archer, and why does he still defend the castle? What secrets lie in the castle's dark dungeons? And who was the Lady in White, and what drove her to such despair? As the mists of Houska Castle settle and the echoes of its Phantom Archer fade into the annals of Welsh folklore, we find ourselves drawn northward across the rugged landscapes of the British Isles to the windswept cliffs of Scotland. Here, amidst the haunting beauty of Houska Castle, another spectral figure emerges from the shadows, one whose story is no less enigmatic, no less steeped in the eerie tapestry of history. While the Phantom Archer of Houska stands as a silent sentinel, a ghostly guardian bound to the stones of his fortress, the Phantom Piper of Culzean is a figure of sound and sorrow, his mournful melodies drifting through the castle's corridors like a lament from another age. Both tales, though separated by geography and legend, share a common thread. They are echoes of a past that refuses to be forgotten, reminders that the walls of these ancient strongholds are not merely made of stone, but of stories, stories that whisper of loyalty and the enduring presence of those who once walked these halls. And so, as we leave the archer's arrow behind, we turn our attention to the piper's tune, a melody that has haunted Houska Castle for centuries, and a mystery that begs the question, who was this spectral musician, and why does his music still linger in the air? Houska Castle, perched dramatically on the cliffs of Scotland's Ayrshire coast, is a place where history and legend intertwine like the ivy clinging to its ancient walls. Built in the late 18th century as the ancestral home of the Kennedy family, this grand structure is as much a symbol of Scottish nobility as it is a repository of ghostly tales. Among its many spectral residents, none is more famous or more haunting than the Phantom Piper. His story begins not in the castle itself, but deep beneath it, in a labyrinth of secret tunnels and caves that stretch far below the foundations. These tunnels, carved by the relentless force of the sea, are said to have been used for centuries as escape routes, smuggling passages, and even hiding places during times of war. But it is here, in the shadowy depths, that the Piper's tale takes a tragic turn. According to legend, the Piper was a young man tasked with exploring the tunnels to map their extent. Armed with nothing but his bagpipes and a lantern, he ventured into the darkness, playing his pipes as he went. The music, it was said, would guide those above ground, allowing them to track his progress. But as the Piper delved deeper, the music suddenly stopped. Search parties scoured the tunnels, but no trace of the Piper was ever found. Not his body, not his pipes, not even his lantern. To this day, his fate remains a mystery. Yet, visitors to Culzean Castle often report hearing the faint, mournful strains of bagpipes echoing through the halls and corridors, as if the piper is still wandering, lost in the endless maze beneath the castle. What makes this story so compelling is not just its eerie nature, but the historical context that surrounds it. The Kennedy family, who once ruled these lands, were no strangers to conflict and intrigue. The tunnels beneath Culzean Castle were not merely a curiosity, they were a strategic asset used during times of political unrest and clan warfare. Could the piper's disappearance be linked to one of these conflicts? Was he a victim of foul play, or did he simply succumb to the dangers of the underground labyrinth? Some theorists suggest that the piper's music is not a lament, but a warning, a spectral reminder of the perils that lie beneath the castle's majestic facade. Others believe that the piper's spirit is bound to the castle, forever replaying the moment of his disappearance, as if trapped in a loop of time. Whatever the truth, the Phantom Piper of Culzean Castle remains one of Scotland's most enduring ghostly legends. His story is a testament to the power of folklore, a reminder that even the most beautiful places can harbor dark secrets. And as the wind howls off the North Sea and the waves crash against the cliffs below, one can almost hear the faint haunting notes of his pipes, a melody that transcends time and mortality. But the piper's mournful tune is not the only spectral echo that lingers in the British Isles. Far to the south, in the ancient stronghold of Dover Castle, another ghostly phenomenon has captured the imagination of historians and paranormal enthusiasts alike. Known as the Phantom Army, this spectral force is said to appear on the castle's battlements, marching in perfect formation, as if preparing for a battle that never came. The sight of these ghostly soldiers, clad in armor from a bygone era, has been reported by countless witnesses over the centuries. Some believe they are the spirits of Roman legionaries, left behind to guard the castle long after their empire fell. Others suggest they are the restless souls of medieval knights, forever bound to defend the fortress they once called home. What connects these two tales, the Piper of Culzean and the Army of Dover, is not just their supernatural nature, but the way they reflect the enduring legacy of history. These are not mere ghost stories, they are echoes of the past, reminders of the lives and struggles that shaped the world we know today. And as we stand in the shadow of these ancient castles, we are left to wonder, are these apparitions merely figments of our imagination, or are they something more? Are they perhaps the lingering presence of those who came before us, reaching out across the centuries to remind us that history is never truly gone? Dover Castle, often referred to as the key to England, stands as one of the most formidable fortresses in British history. Perched high atop the iconic White Cliffs, this sprawling stronghold has witnessed over 2 millennia of conflict, from Roman invasions to the dark days of World War II. Its walls have sheltered kings, repelled armies, and borne witness to some of the most pivotal moments in the nation's history. Yet, amidst its storied past, there is one phenomenon that continues to baffle historians and visitors alike: the Phantom Army of Dover Castle. Accounts of this spectral force date back centuries, with the reports of ghostly soldiers appearing on the castle's battlements, marching in perfect formation as if preparing for battle. Witnesses describe them as clad in armor, their figures shimmering faintly in the moonlight, their faces obscured by the mists of time. Some claim to hear the distant clatter of swords, the rhythmic pounding of boots, and the faint haunting calls of orders being given in a language long forgotten. But who are these phantom soldiers, and why do they haunt this ancient fortress? One of the most compelling theories ties the apparitions to the castle's Roman origins. Dover Castle was built on the site of a Roman lighthouse, and the surrounding area was once a bustling hub of Roman military activity. Could these ghostly soldiers be the spirits of Roman legionaries left behind to guard the fortress long after their empire crumbled? The precision of their formations and the antiquity of their armor lend credence to this idea, suggesting a connection to the disciplined ranks of Rome's legions. Yet others argue that the Phantom Army is of a more recent vintage, perhaps the restless souls of medieval knights who perished defending the castle during one of the many sieges it endured. Another intriguing possibility is that the apparitions are linked to the English Civil War, a tumultuous period in which Dover Castle played a strategic role. The castle changed hands multiple times during the conflict, and the bloodshed that occurred within its walls could easily have left a lasting imprint on the fabric of the place. Some even suggest that the Phantom Army is not a single group of spirits, but a composite of soldiers from different eras, their collective presence a testament to the castle's long and violent history. What makes the Phantom Army of Dover Castle so fascinating is not just the mystery of their identity, but the consistency of the sightings. Over the centuries, countless witnesses, from soldiers stationed at the castle to curious tourists, have reported seeing the ghostly figures. Some claim the apparitions appear most frequently on stormy nights, when the wind howls through the battlements and the waves crash against the cliffs below. Others say the soldiers are seen during moments of national crisis, as if they are summoned by the call to defend England once more. Whether they are Roman legionaries, medieval knights, or Civil War soldiers, the Phantom Army of Dover Castle remains one of the most enduring and enigmatic ghostly phenomena in Britain. Their presence is a reminder that history is not just a series of events recorded in books, but a living, breathing force that lingers in the places where it unfolded. And as the mists roll in from the English Channel, one cannot help but wonder, are these spectral soldiers merely echoes of the past, or are they guardians, forever bound to protect the land they once called home? But the mysteries of Dover Castle are not the only enigmas that haunt the castles of Europe. Far to the east, nestled in the Bavarian Alps, lies a castle so breathtakingly beautiful that it seems to belong to the realm of fairy tales. Neuschwanstein Castle, with its soaring towers and dreamlike architecture, was the creation of one of history's most enigmatic figures, King Ludwig II of Bavaria. Known as the Fairy Tale King, Ludwig was a man of immense vision and eccentricity, whose life was as shrouded in mystery as his death. In 1886, just days after being declared mentally unfit to rule, Ludwig was found dead in Lake Starnberg under circumstances that remain unexplained to this day. Was it suicide, murder, or something even more sinister? The truth may lie within the walls of Neuschwanstein, a castle that was as much a refuge for the king as it was a monument to his dreams. And as we delve into the life and death of Ludwig II, we are reminded that even the most beautiful places can harbor the darkest secrets. Neuschwanstein Castle, rising like a vision from the mist-shrouded peaks of the Bavarian Alps, is a place where reality and fantasy blur. Its turrets and spires, inspired by the operas of Richard Wagner and the romantic ideals of medieval chivalry, were the brainchild of one of history's most enigmatic figures, King Ludwig II of Bavaria. Known as the Fairy Tale King, Ludwig was a dreamer, a patron of the arts, and a man whose life was as extravagant as it was tragic. Yet it is not his life that haunts the halls of Neuschwanstein, but his death, a mystery that has puzzled historians, conspiracy theorists, and royal enthusiasts for over a century. Ludwig's reign was marked by his obsession with creating a world of beauty and wonder, far removed from the political machinations of 19th century Europe. Neuschwanstein, his most famous creation, was intended as a personal retreat, a place where he could escape the pressures of rulership and immerse himself in his fantasies. But Ludwig's dreams came at a cost. His extravagant spending and increasingly erratic behavior led to growing tensions with his government. In 1886, just days after being declared mentally unfit to rule, Ludwig was taken into custody and placed under house arrest at Houska Castle near Lake Starnberg. What happened next remains one of the most baffling episodes in royal history. On the evening of June 13, 1886, Ludwig and his psychiatrist, Dr. Bernhard von Gudden, went for a walk along the shores of Lake Starnberg. They were accompanied by 2 attendants, but at some point, Ludwig and von Gudden ventured ahead alone. Hours later, their bodies were found in the shallow waters of the lake. The official explanation was that Ludwig had drowned von Gudden in a fit of madness before taking his own life. But this account has been met with skepticism from the very beginning. The circumstances of Ludwig's death are riddled with inconsistencies. Why were there no signs of a struggle on von Gudden's body? Despite reports that he had been strangled, why was Ludwig's watch stopped at 6:54 p.m., hours before his body was discovered? And perhaps most puzzling of all, why was the water in his lungs found to be fresh, despite the fact that Lake Starnberg's waters are known to be brackish? These anomalies have led to a host of alternative theories, ranging from political assassination to a staged escape. Some believe that Ludwig's enemies within the government orchestrated his death to rid themselves of a troublesome monarch. Others suggest that he faked his own death and fled to a life of anonymity. What cannot be denied is the profound impact of Ludwig's death on Bavarian history and culture. Neuschwanstein Castle, once a symbol of his grand vision, became a monument to his tragic legacy. Today, it stands as one of the most visited castles in the world, its halls echoing with the whispers of a king who dared to dream too big. And as we gaze upon its fairy tale splendor, we are left to wonder what really happened to Ludwig II on that fateful night. Was his death the result of madness, murder, or something even more mysterious? The truth may lie buried in the depths of Lake Starnberg, or perhaps within the walls of Neuschwanstein itself, a castle that remains as enigmatic as the king who built it. But the mysteries of Neuschwanstein are not the only enigmas that haunt the castles of Europe. Far to the southeast, carved into the face of a towering cliff in the Slovenian countryside, lies Houska Castle, a fortress as dramatic in its setting as it is in its history. Known as the Castle in the Cave, Houska is the site of one of the most bizarre and unexplained events in medieval lore, the Vanishing Banquet. According to legend, during a prolonged siege in the 15th century, the castle's lord, Erasmus of Logue, taunted his besiegers by hosting lavish feasts within the castle walls, even as supplies were thought to be running low. Fresh cherries, roasted meats, and fine wines appeared as if by magic, leaving the attackers baffled and demoralized. How did Erasmus manage to procure such luxuries under siege? The answer lies in the castle's secret tunnels, a labyrinthine network that stretches deep into the cliffside. But even today, the full extent of these passages remains unknown, and the story of the Vanishing Banquet continues to captivate those who dare to explore the mysteries of Houska Castle. Carved into the face of a towering cliff in the Slovenian countryside, Houska Castle is a marvel of medieval engineering and a fortress unlike any other. Built in the 12th century, it clings to the rock like a bird of prey, its stone walls blending seamlessly with the natural landscape. But behind its dramatic facade lies a history of rebellion, intrigue, and one of the most baffling mysteries in European castle lore. Houska Castle is best known as the stronghold of Erasmus of Houska, a 15th century knight and notorious outlaw. Erasm was a Robin Hood-like figure, stealing from the rich and giving to the poor, but his defiance of the Habsburg Empire made him a target. When he killed a Habsburg commander in a duel, the Empire declared him enemy and laid siege to Houska Castle. But Erasm was no ordinary foe. The castle's unique location, built into a cliffside, allowed him to outwit his enemies for over a year. Using a network of secret tunnels and caves behind the castle, Erasm smuggled in supplies and even staged a grand banquet to taunt his besiegers. Legend has it that during the siege, Erasm hosted a feast in the castle's great hall, complete with fresh cherries from the valley below. The Habsburg forces camped outside were baffled. How could the castle's inhabitants have fresh food after months of siege? The answer lay in the castle's hidden tunnels, which connected to a vast cave system. Erasm used these tunnels to bring in supplies and even launch surprise attacks on his enemies, but his luck eventually ran out. A traitor within the castle revealed Erasm's location to the Habsburg forces, and he was killed by a cannonball while using the castle's latrine. Today, Houska Castle is a popular tourist destination, drawing visitors from around the world. But its ghostly inhabitants remind us that its history is not just one of rebellion, but also of mystery. Visitors have reported hearing the clinking of glasses and the sound of laughter echoing through the great hall, as if Erasm's banquet is still in progress. Others claim to see shadowy figures moving through the castle's tunnels, their faces obscured by darkness. But the most chilling tale associated with Houska Castle involves the White Lady. Legend has it that she was a noble woman who fell in love with Erasm but was betrayed by him. Heartbroken, she threw herself from the castle's highest tower. Her ghost is said to wander the castle grounds, her mournful cries echoing through the night. What secrets lie in Houska Castle's hidden tunnels? Why does the White Lady still wander the grounds? And what other mysteries are waiting to be uncovered within its walls? The Vanishing Banquet of Houska Castle is a tale of cunning, defiance, and the enduring allure of the unknown. Erasmus of Lübeck's ability to outwit his besiegers with lavish feasts, seemingly conjured from thin air, speaks to the ingenuity and resourcefulness of a man who refused to be conquered. Yet, as we leave the shadowy tunnels of Houska behind, we are drawn to another castle, one whose story is far darker and more chilling. Far to the northeast, straddling the border of modern-day Slovakia and Hungary, lies Houska Castle, a place forever haunted by the legend of the Bloody Countess. While Erasmus's tale is one of clever survival, the story of Houska Castle is one of unspeakable cruelty, a grim reminder that the walls of these ancient fortresses have witnessed not only heroism and intrigue, but also the depths of human depravity. And so, as we step into the chilling world of the Bloody Countess, we are left to wonder what drove this infamous noblewoman to commit such heinous acts, and why does her legacy continue to cast a long, dark shadow over the history of Houska Castle. Houska Castle, perched ominously on a rocky hill in the Carpathian Mountains, is a place where history and horror intertwine. Once a symbol of power and nobility, this fortress is now forever associated with one of the most infamous figures in European history, Countess Elizabeth Bathory. Known as the Bloody Countess, Elizabeth's name has become synonymous with cruelty, madness, and unspeakable acts of violence. But who was this woman, and what drove her to commit such atrocities? To understand the legend of the Bloody Countess, we must delve into the dark and twisted world of 16th century Hungary, a time of political intrigue, superstition, and unchecked power. Elizabeth Bathory was born in 1560 into one of the most powerful families in Hungary. From a young age, she was exposed to the brutal realities of life in a society where nobility ruled with an iron fist. Married at 15 to Furan Draniasade, a renowned warrior, Elizabeth moved to Houska Castle, where she would later become the mistress of the estate. On the surface, she was a wealthy and influential noblewoman, but beneath that facade lay a deeply troubled and malevolent mind. The legend of Elizabeth's crimes begins with whispers of young servant girls disappearing without a trace, of strange rituals conducted in the dead of night, and of a countess obsessed with preserving her youth and beauty. According to accounts, Elizabeth believed that bathing in the blood of virgins would grant her eternal youth, a belief that led to the torture and murder of hundreds of young women. The exact number of her victims remains unknown, with estimates ranging from 80 to over 600. What is certain is that the horrors committed within the walls of Houska Castle were so extreme that they eventually caught the attention of the Hungarian authorities. In 1610, after years of rumors and mounting evidence, Elizabeth was arrested. Her accomplices, servants, and confidants who had aided in her crimes were tried and executed, but Elizabeth herself, due to her noble status, was spared the death penalty. Instead, she was walled up in a small room within Houska Castle, where she remained until her death in 1614. Her legacy, however, did not die with her. The story of the Bloody Countess has endured for centuries, becoming a cautionary tale of power, madness, and the darkest corners of the human soul. But was Elizabeth Bathory truly the monster history has made her out to be? Some historians argue that her crimes were exaggerated, a product of political machinations designed to strip her of her wealth and influence. Others suggest that she may have suffered from mental illness, her actions driven by delusion and paranoia. Whatever the truth, the legend of the Bloody Countess remains one of the most chilling and enduring mysteries of European history. And as the winds howl through the ruins of Houska Castle, one cannot help but wonder, are the echoes of her victims' screams still trapped within its crumbling walls? The story of Elizabeth Bathory is a grim reminder that the past is not always as distant as it seems. Her tale forces us to confront the darker aspects of human nature, the capacity for cruelty that lies within us all. And as we leave the shadow of Houska Castle behind, we are drawn to another place, one where the echoes of history are no less haunting. Far to the west, in the rugged foothills of the French Pyrenees, lies Houska Castle, a place steeped in tragedy, mystery, and the lingering presence of the past. Known as the last stronghold of the Cathars, a religious sect persecuted for their beliefs, Houska is a site of profound historical and spiritual significance. But it is not just the castle's tragic history that draws visitors. It is the eerie tales of its haunted chapel, where the spirits of the Cathars are said to linger, their voices whispering in the wind. What secrets does this ancient chapel hold, and why do the echoes of the Cathars' final moments continue to haunt this remote mountain fortress? As we step into the shadow of Houska Castle, we are reminded that some stories are never truly forgotten, and some spirits never truly rest. Houska Castle, perched high in the rugged foothills of the French Pyrenees, is a place where history, tragedy, and the supernatural converge. Known as the last stronghold of the Cathars, a religious sect persecuted for their beliefs, Houska is a site of profound historical and spiritual significance. But it is not just the castle's tragic past that draws visitors. It is the eerie tales of its haunted chapel, where the spirits of the Cathars are said to linger, their voices whispering in the wind. To understand the haunting of Houska, we must first delve into the story of the Cathars, a group whose defiance of the Catholic Church led to one of the most brutal episodes of medieval history. The Cathars, also known as the Albigensians, were a Christian sect that flourished in the Languedoc region of southern France during the 12th and 13th centuries. They believed in a dualistic worldview, seeing the material world as inherently evil and the spiritual world as pure and divine. This belief put them at odds with the Catholic Church, which viewed them as heretics and launched a crusade to eradicate them. The Albigensian Crusade, which began in 1209, was a bloody and merciless campaign that saw entire towns slaughtered and the Cathar faith driven underground. Houska Castle became the final refuge of the Cathars, a place where they could practice their faith in relative safety. But their sanctuary would not last. In 1243, the castle was besieged by Catholic forces, and after a grueling 10-month siege, the Cathars were forced to surrender. On March 16, 1244, over 200 Cathars were burned alive at the stake in a field below the castle, an event that has come to be known as the Massacre at Houska. It is said that the flames of the pyre could be seen for miles, a grim testament to the brutality of the crusade. But the story of Houska does not end with the massacre. According to legend, before the castle fell, a small group of Cathars managed to escape with a mysterious treasure believed by some to be the Holy Grail itself. This treasure has never been found, and its existence remains one of the great unsolved mysteries of medieval history. What is certain, however, is that the spirits of the Cathars are said to haunt the castle, particularly its chapel, where their final prayers were offered before their deaths. Visitors to Houska Castle often report strange occurrences in the chapel. The sound of chanting, the feeling of an unseen presence, and the sensation of being watched. Some claim to have seen shadowy figures moving through the ruins, their forms flickering like the flames of the pyre that claimed their lives. Others speak of a deep, overwhelming sadness that permeates the air, as if the chapel itself mourns the loss of the Cathars. Whether these phenomena are the result of overactive imaginations or something more supernatural, they serve as a poignant reminder of the tragedy that unfolded here. The haunting of Houska Castle is a testament to the enduring power of memory and the human spirit. The Cathars may have been defeated, but their story lives on, a haunting echo of a time when faith and freedom were worth dying for. And as we stand in the shadow of Houska's ruins, we are left to wonder, are the spirits of the Cathars truly at rest, or do they still walk these ancient stones, their voices carried on the wind? But the mysteries of Houska are not the only enigmas that haunt the castles of Europe. Far to the north, in the heart of Scotland, lies Stirling Castle, a fortress steeped in history, legend, and a chilling tale of a cursed tapestry. This tapestry, woven with scenes of triumph and tragedy, is said to carry a dark curse, one that has brought misfortune to all who have possessed it. What is the origin of this cursed artifact, and why does its presence continue to cast a shadow over Stirling Castle? As we step into the halls of this ancient stronghold, we are reminded that some stories are not just told, they are woven into the very fabric of history. Stirling Castle, one of Scotland's most iconic fortresses, stands as a testament to the nation's turbulent history. Perched high on a volcanic crag, this castle has witnessed countless battles, royal intrigues, and moments of triumph and tragedy. But amidst its storied past, there is one artifact that has captured the imagination of historians and visitors alike: the cursed tapestry. This intricate piece of textile, woven with scenes of medieval grandeur, is said to carry a dark and malevolent curse, one that has brought misfortune to all who have possessed it. To understand the legend of the cursed tapestry, we must delve into the history of Stirling Castle and the mysterious origins of this enigmatic artifact. The tapestry itself is a masterpiece of medieval craftsmanship, depicting scenes of battle, courtly life, and religious devotion. It is believed to have been created in the 15th century during the reign of King James IV of Scotland, a time when Stirling Castle was at the height of its power and influence. According to legend, the tapestry was commissioned to commemorate a great victory, but its creation was marred by tragedy. The weavers, it is said, were driven to madness by the dark forces they invoked to complete their work, and the tapestry was cursed from the moment it was finished. Over the centuries, the tapestry has been associated with a series of strange and tragic events. Those who have owned or displayed it have reportedly suffered from unexplained illnesses, financial ruin, and even untimely deaths. One particularly chilling account tells of a noble family who hung the tapestry in their grand hall, only to be struck by a series of misfortunes that culminated in the family's downfall. Another story speaks of a curator who attempted to restore the tapestry, only to be found dead in his workshop, the tools of his trade scattered around him. These tales have led many to believe that the tapestry is not just a work of art, but a vessel for something far more sinister. But what is the source of the tapestry's curse? Some believe that the curse is tied to the events it depicts, that the violence and bloodshed woven into its threads have imbued it with a malevolent energy. Others suggest that the curse is the result of a dark ritual performed by the weavers, a desperate attempt to imbue their work with supernatural power. Whatever the truth, the cursed tapestry remains one of Stirling Castle's most enduring mysteries, a reminder that even the most beautiful artifacts can harbor dark secrets. Today, the tapestry is kept under lock and key, its display limited to protect both the artifact and those who might come into contact with it. Yet, despite its confinement, the legend of the cursed tapestry continues to grow, drawing visitors from around the world who seek to catch a glimpse of this infamous relic. And as the shadows lengthen in the halls of Stirling Castle, one cannot help but wonder, is the curse real, or is it merely a product of superstition and fear? Whatever the answer, the cursed tapestry serves as a haunting reminder of the power of belief and the enduring allure of the unknown. But the mysteries of Stirling Castle are not the only enigmas that haunt the castles of Europe. Far to the south, in the heart of Brittany, lies Château de Tresesson, a place where history and legend intertwine in the most chilling of ways. Among its many ghostly tales, none is more famous or more unsettling than the story of the haunted portrait. This painting, said to depict a young woman who met a tragic end, is believed to carry a curse that has plagued the castle for centuries. What is the story behind this eerie artifact, and why does its presence continue to cast a shadow over Château de Tresesson? As we step into the halls of this ancient fortress, we are reminded that some stories are not just told, they are painted in the very strokes of history. Château de Tresesson, nestled in the dense forests of Brittany, is a place where history and legend intertwine in the most chilling of ways. This medieval fortress, with its imposing stone walls and turrets, has stood for centuries as a silent witness to the region's turbulent past. But it is not just the castle's architecture that draws visitors. It is the eerie tales of its haunted portrait, a painting said to depict a young woman whose tragic fate has left an indelible mark on the castle's history. To understand the haunting of Château de Tresesson, we must delve into the story of this enigmatic portrait and the curse that is said to accompany it. The portrait, believed to have been painted in the 18th century, depicts a young woman of striking beauty, her eyes filled with a haunting sadness. According to legend, the woman was a member of the Tresesson family, a noble lineage that once ruled the region. Her story is one of love, betrayal, and untimely death, a tale that has become the stuff of local folklore. It is said that the woman fell in love with a man of lower social standing, a relationship that was forbidden by her family. When her lover was killed under mysterious circumstances, the woman was overcome with grief and took her own life, her spirit forever bound to the castle. The portrait, painted shortly after her death, is said to carry a curse, one that has plagued the Tressasson family for generations. Those who have owned or displayed the painting have reportedly suffered from a series of misfortunes, including illness, financial ruin, and even untimely deaths. One particularly chilling account tells of a family member who attempted to remove the portrait from the castle, only to be found dead the next day. The painting mysteriously returned to its place on the wall. Another story speaks of a visitor who mocked the legend, only to be driven mad by the sound of a woman's weeping echoing through the halls. But what is the source of the portrait's curse? Some believe that the curse is tied to the woman's tragic fate, that her spirit is trapped within the painting, unable to find peace. Others suggest that the curse is the result of a dark ritual performed by the artist, a desperate attempt to capture the woman's essence in his work. Whatever the truth, the haunted portrait remains one of Chateau de Tressasson's most enduring mysteries, a reminder that even the most beautiful artifacts can harbor dark secrets. Today, the portrait is kept in a secluded room within the castle, its display limited to protect both the artifact and those who might come into contact with it. Yet, despite its confinement, the legend of the haunted portrait continues to grow, drawing visitors from around the world who seek to catch a glimpse of this infamous relic. And as the shadows lengthen in the halls of Chateau de Tressasson, one cannot help but wonder, is the curse real, or is it merely a product of superstition and fear? Whatever the answer, the haunted portrait serves as a haunting reminder of the power of belief and the enduring allure of the unknown. But the mysteries of Chateau de Tressasson are not the only enigmas that haunt the castles of Europe. Far to the north, in the coastal town of Helsingør, lies Kronborg Castle, a place where history and legend intertwine in the most chilling of ways. Among its many ghostly tales, none is more famous or more unsettling than the story of the cursed sword. This ancient weapon, said to have been wielded by a vengeful spirit, is believed to carry a curse that has plagued the castle for centuries. What is the story behind this eerie artifact, and why does its presence continue to cast a shadow over Kronborg Castle? As we step into the halls of this ancient fortress, we are reminded that some stories are not just told, they are forged in the very steel of history. Kronborg Castle, standing proudly on the shores of the Øresund Strait in Helsingør, Denmark, is a place where history and legend intertwine in the most dramatic of ways. Known as the setting for Shakespeare's Hamlet, this Renaissance fortress is steeped in tales of royalty, intrigue, and the supernatural. But among its many stories, none is more chilling or more enigmatic than the legend of the cursed sword. This ancient weapon, said to have been wielded by a vengeful spirit, is believed to carry a curse that has plagued the castle for centuries. To understand the mystery of the cursed sword, we must delve into the history of Kronborg Castle and the dark events that have shaped its legacy. The sword itself is a masterpiece of medieval craftsmanship, its blade forged with intricate patterns, and its hilt adorned with symbols of power and protection. According to legend, the sword once belonged to a knight who served at Kronborg during the 16th century, a man known for his bravery and loyalty. But his story took a tragic turn when he was betrayed by those he trusted most, leading to his untimely death. It is said that in his final moments, the knight swore an oath of vengeance, cursing the sword and binding his spirit to it. Since then, the sword has been associated with a series of strange and tragic events. Those who have wielded it in battle have reportedly met gruesome ends, their deaths marked by inexplicable accidents or sudden illnesses. One particularly chilling account tells of a nobleman who displayed the sword in his private chambers, only to be found dead the next morning, the sword lying beside him as if it had been used in a violent struggle. Another story speaks of a soldier who attempted to steal the sword, only to vanish without a trace, his fate forever unknown. But what is the source of the sword's curse? Some believe that the curse is tied to the knight's oath of vengeance, that his spirit remains bound to the sword, seeking retribution from beyond the grave. Others suggest that the sword was forged using dark rituals, imbuing it with a malevolent energy that corrupts all who come into contact with it. Whatever the truth, the cursed sword remains one of Houska Castle's most enduring mysteries, a reminder that even the most noble of artifacts can harbor dark secrets. Today, the sword is kept in a secure vault within the castle, its display limited to protect both the artifact and those who might come into contact with it. Yet, despite its confinement, the legend of the cursed sword continues to grow, drawing visitors from around the world who seek to catch a glimpse of this infamous relic. And as the waves crash against the shores of Helignir, one cannot help but wonder, is the curse real, or is it merely a product of superstition and fear? Whatever the answer, the cursed sword serves as a haunting reminder of the power of belief and the enduring allure of the unknown. But the mysteries of Houska Castle are not the only enigmas that haunt the castles of Europe. Far to the east, in the historic city of Krakow, Poland, lies Wawel, a place where history and legend intertwine in the most chilling of ways. Among its many ghostly tales, none is more famous or more unsettling than the story of the haunted library. This ancient collection of books and manuscripts, said to be guarded by the spirit of a long-dead scholar, is believed to carry a curse that has plagued the castle for centuries. What is the story behind this eerie collection? And why does its presence continue to cast a shadow over Wawel Castle? As we step into the halls of this ancient fortress, we are reminded that some stories are not just told, they are written in the very pages of history. Wawel Castle, perched majestically on a hill overlooking the Vistula River in Krakow, Poland, is a place where history and legend intertwine in the most profound of ways. This sprawling fortress, once the seat of Polish kings, is a treasure trove of art, architecture, and centuries-old secrets. But among its many wonders, none is more enigmatic or more chilling than the haunted library. This ancient collection of books and manuscripts, said to be guarded by the spirit of a long-dead scholar, is believed to carry a curse that has plagued the castle for centuries. To understand the mystery of the haunted library, we must delve into the history of Wawel Castle and the dark events that have shaped its legacy. The library itself is a marvel of medieval craftsmanship, its shelves lined with rare and priceless volumes, some dating back to the 12th century. According to legend, the library was once the domain of a brilliant but reclusive scholar who dedicated his life to the pursuit of forbidden knowledge. This scholar, whose name has been lost to history, was said to have been a polymath, a master of alchemy, astrology, and even necromancy. He spent decades amassing a collection of texts from across the known world, including works on the occult, ancient rituals, and the summoning of spirits. But his experiments took a dark turn, and he was found dead in the library under mysterious circumstances, his body surrounded by open books and strange symbols scrawled on the walls. Since then, the library has been associated with a series of strange and unsettling events. Visitors and staff have reported hearing the sound of pages turning when no one is present, the faint whisper of a voice reciting incantations, and the feeling of an unseen presence watching them. One particularly chilling account tells of a historian who spent the night in the library, only to be found the next morning in a state of shock, muttering about shadowy figures and books that seemed to move on their own. Another story speaks of a librarian who attempted to catalog the collection, only to vanish without a trace, his notes left scattered across a desk. But what is the source of the library's haunting? Some believe that the scholar's spirit remains bound to the library, his restless soul unable to leave the place where he met his untimely end. Others suggest that the books themselves are cursed, their pages filled with dark knowledge that corrupts all who read them. Whatever the truth, the haunted library remains one of Houska Castle's most enduring mysteries, a reminder that even the pursuit of knowledge can come at a terrible cost. Today the library is carefully guarded, its access restricted to protect both the collection and those who might come into contact with it. Yet despite its confinement, the legend of the haunted library continues to grow, drawing scholars and visitors from around the world who seek to uncover its secrets. And as the candles flicker in the dimly lit halls of Houska Castle, one cannot help but wonder, is the haunting real, or is it merely a product of superstition and fear? Whatever the answer, the haunted library serves as a haunting reminder of the power of knowledge and the enduring allure of the unknown. But the mysteries of Houska Castle are not the only enigmas that haunt the castles of Europe. Far to the west, in the rolling hills of Devon, England, lies Phantom Piper of Culzean, a place where history and legend intertwine in the most chilling of ways. Among its many ghostly tales, none is more famous or more unsettling than the story of the Black Dog. This spectral hound, said to roam the castle grounds, is believed to be an omen of death, its appearance foretelling tragedy and misfortune. What is the story behind this eerie apparition, and why does its presence continue to cast a shadow over Phantom Piper of Culzean? As we step into the ruins of this ancient fortress, we are reminded that some stories are not just told, they are etched in the very stones of history. Nestled in the rolling hills of Devon, England, the Phantom Piper of Culzean is a place where beauty and darkness intertwine. Its ivy-clad ruins and picturesque setting make it a favorite among visitors. But beneath its tranquil exterior lies a history of betrayal, murder, and ghostly apparitions. Built in the late 15th century by the Pomeroy family, the castle was later acquired by the Seymours, a powerful and ambitious family. But the Seymours' rise to power was marred by scandal and bloodshed. It's said that one of the Seymour daughters, Margaret, was imprisoned in the castle by her own father after she fell in love with a man beneath her station. She died in captivity, and her ghost, known as the White Lady, is said to haunt the castle to this day. The White Lady is often seen in the castle's tower, her spectral figure glowing faintly in the moonlight. Some say she appears as a harbinger of death, her presence foretelling tragedy. Others claim to have heard her weeping, her sorrow echoing through the empty halls. But the White Lady is not the only ghost said to roam Phantom Piper. The castle is also haunted by the Blue Lady, a more sinister spirit. Legend has it that she was the daughter of a Norman lord who ruled the castle centuries ago. Consumed by jealousy, she murdered her own sister and her sister's child, ensuring she would inherit the castle. Her crimes were discovered, and she was walled up alive in the castle's dungeons. Today, her ghost is said to lure visitors into the castle's darkest corners, where they may meet a grim fate. Phantom Piper is also home to the Black Dog, a spectral creature that roams the ruins. Described as a large shadowy hound with glowing red eyes, the Black Dog is said to be an omen of doom. Those who encounter it often report feeling an overwhelming sense of dread, as if the creature is feeding on their fear. The castle's dark history and ghostly inhabitants have made it a hotspot for paranormal investigators. Visitors have reported unexplained cold spots, sudden drops in temperature, and the feeling of being watched. Some have even captured ghostly figures in photographs, their faces twisted in agony or sorrow. What makes Barry Pomeroy Castle so haunted? Is it the tragic fate of Margaret Seymour, the crimes of the Blue Lady, or something older and darker that lingers in the ruins? The answers may never be known, but one thing is certain: Barry Pomeroy is a place where the past refuses to rest. As we close the pages of these haunting tales, we are reminded that the castles of Europe are more than just stone and mortar. They are living, breathing monuments to the past, each with its own secrets to tell. From the mournful melodies of the Phantom Piper of Culzean Castle to the chilling whispers of the haunted library of Wowell, these stories are a testament to the enduring power of history and the mysteries that lie just beyond our understanding. They remind us that the past is never truly gone, but the echoes of those who came before us still linger in the halls and corridors of these ancient fortresses. Whether it's the cursed artifacts of Stirling and Kronborg, the spectral armies of Dover, or the tragic legends of Chactatis and Montségur, these tales invite us to explore the unknown, to question what we think we know, and to embrace the wonder of the unexplained. They are a reminder that history is not just a series of dates and events, but a tapestry woven with the threads of human experience, both light and dark. If you've enjoyed this journey through the haunted halls of Europe's castles, don't forget to like and subscribe for more tales of mystery and wonder. Share your thoughts in the comments below. Which story intrigued you the most? And remember, the past is always waiting to be discovered, so keep exploring, keep questioning, and keep seeking the stories that lie hidden in the shadows. Thank you for joining us on this eerie adventure. Until next time, stay shrouded in wonder.